Hello and welcome. I'm going to do the second part, or yeah, I guess part two of eating and talking about random stuff. I decided I got another two burgers. A pretty nice day, but it's like I could kind of just sit out there and it's kind of overcast right now. Why don't I make a video about me eating food? Sounds pretty good to me. So that's what I'm going to be doing here. Actually, it makes it a little nicer. Let me get a plate for this real quick. Don't you mind me? Now everything looks a little nicer. Instead of just the open bag. I didn't really think about it. The food's still warm. I want to eat it. And the goal of this video is to actually eat my burger a little quicker. So I actually finished both of them. You saw the last video. I was blabbing and yabbing about a bunch of random stuff. And then I ended up getting kind of full. But I didn't completely finish the second burger. So if you don't notice, I have a bag here. This bag has another thing of fries. Same amount. And another burger. Cheeseburger. I'm going to show you. Don't you worry. And we got some sauce right here. And we got another sauce for the other burger. Okay? So, I got napkins, I got what I need, I got my sauce, I got my water, I got everything. So the other burger is gonna go right there for now. You see, it's in a paper bag, which I like. But that gets a little greasy, so they put that in a plastic bag. So I like that. I double like it. I just came back from a music appreciation day at my local symphony concert hall here in Seattle, Benner Royal Hall, and it was really cool. They had a bunch of different, it was like cultural appreciation almost. They had like a bunch of different types of music. They had the Indian, like Punjabi, Bhangra beat sort of dance music. I don't know what to call it. That's what I know. Yeah, if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. It's like it's like Indian dance music. And then they even had like East Indian, Northeast Indian live classical Indian music. And I'm gonna post I recorded an entire song or piece. I think they called it a piece. It's very spiritual. And maybe you're not into spiritual, maybe you are. For me, it's very spiritual. Whatever it is, here's a good perspective that's interesting, or it's an interesting take, is that I was watching a Bach piece, St. John's Passion, okay? And someone that was East Indian, actually, what they had told me, they said they look at it like a very interesting wording. They said it was like a Western, something about like the Western imagination experience. I'm trying to think of the wording that he used. But he was basically saying, from an outsider's perspective, it's like all of the sort of fantasies and ideas that a Westerner might believe in coming to life, and you experiencing that from an outside perspective. So, and I'm kind of an outsider for a lot of things. I don't fit with a lot of religions and stuff, but I do like to learn from them. I think they're a good thing. Everything's good and bad, though, of course. But I do think there's a lot of good things from religion. So I like, to pay attention and stuff like that. But getting a little off track. Basically, there was the bunch of different live music. They also had Korean, like the dancing. They had like ladies that were dancing. They had like fans in colorful dresses and all this stuff, and they even came out with drums and started doing the drum beat. It was really cool while dancing, which that was really impressive. And then these guys came out, and they were pretty young. There was like 5 guys playing 4 different instruments, and it was called I forget what it was called. It's basically 4 different. The name of the piece had to do something with 4 different percussion instruments. Here we go with the cheeseburger. Okay, it's not just burger and cheese. If the burger is called cheeseburger, it's just burger and cheese. Mmm. Hard to see, but let me describe why this burger is so good. First, the patty. It's a good patty. You can eat the patty. Tastes good. Good beef. Has some pepper, some salt, but it's good beef. And it could be. I've had one that's seasoned that was pretty good, but generally, if you're looking for that conventional burger taste, you're doing salt and pepper on the burger. That's what your taste buds are looking for that classic taste. They put pickles on the bottom, and then they put sauce on the bottom too. I was just checking to make sure. And then they put the patty, and then on the patty they put cheese, melted cheese. Woo! And then they put tomato and onion and lettuce, but I asked for no lettuce. Explain in my part 1 video if you're curious. And then they put some sauce right there too. So I always forget that. They put sauce in the bottom and the top, because I always do with some sauce, and then I put a little extra sauce when I make my burger, and it kind of comes out the sides a little bit and stuff. And there's always a good amount of sauce and plants, like vegetables that you're eating, onion and tomato and stuff. So it's a nice experience. It's moist, but they have it on the top and the bottom. That's the secret, because you can double it because of that. Okay, my mind's blown. Oh, different camera. It's just my webcam. It's 1080p, so it should be. Maybe it doesn't like show the details on my face as much. This is a video of me eating food and talking, so does it matter that much? I don't think so. Is the background that pretty? No, so it doesn't matter. But actually, this was way easier for me to set up. The first thing, and then when I set it up, I thought, wait a second, this is a way better angle than last time. I get the full table here, and I think it's a wider view. Whoa, screen went black. I think it's good. It just does that once in a while. I don't know why my screen goes black once in a while, but it's my monitor. It just like goes black, goes back. It does go to sleep, but it's not that. It's just random. These fries, talk about in the last ones, same place I got this burger from. Ooh. Oh, and I got a burger the other day at a new place. It's kind of weird. I want to talk about it. So, I was craving a burger, of course. Why wouldn't I? And, like, I wanted to go to the place that I'm eating right now. I was thinking, why not go here? Mm. And they're only closed like a random weekday, like Wednesday or something. They're always open every day, except one, I think it's Wednesday. They're just closed. So I forget about that once in a while. And it's been twice now. To where, it's sort of spontaneous, so it's not that big of a deal. It never would be, but it's sort of spontaneous to think, oh, I want a burger. And then I look and they're closed. And sometimes I do kind of, actually the last time, this has happened twice, sometimes. The last time I remember I planned on eating a burger. And I planned somewhere throughout the day to night I was going to do this stuff, and then I was going to go out and I was going to get the burger at a certain point, blah, blah. So it just fit into the schedule. And then it's great when I get a burger because I do a lot of cooking myself. And eat a lot of burgers, and I'm mostly they're ones that I make. And I do a good job, I'll tell you this. Okay? I would rate them equal to this burger's amazing. I would say mine are up there with it. Okay? But I just lose the track of what I was saying. I basically I don't really care though. It's been a long day. I feel like I was just talking about going up and getting a burger anyway. Oh, what am I saying? It was the whole story. It's been a long day, I'll tell you this. I didn't sleep much last night, making excuses though. But basically, it was a Wednesday. Planning on eating the burger that day. They were closed. And then I'm like, I need a burger. Okay? My soul is crying for this burger. What do I do? Do I go home and make a burger? I do that a lot. I thought, why not try out a new burger place? Right? So I go, I find this burger place. It's new. Mmm. Mm, 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 mm. What was I talking about? I'm just kidding. So, I tried the new burger place, or I show up there. Because I was like, when I go to a new place, I don't order over the phone. I order over the phone when I know, what to get. But when I go to a place the first time, I actually like to see the atmosphere, see the menu, ask the people some questions. Maybe ask some questions. Just like, curious. You'll see. You'll see. So, I go there. And I'm like, so what kind of burgers you got? I didn't say that. I look at their menu, and I'm checking it out, and the cashier says, oh, do you know what you want? And I said, no, I'm thinking about just getting a cheeseburger, though. Nothing too fancy, because, to be honest, the prices went from, I think it was like $8 a burger to like $16.99 a burger or something. And I was like, oh, I think I'm going to get one of the simple ones. Cheeseburger. How can you go wrong with a cheeseburger, right? I'm gonna tell you, it wasn't like a disaster, but it's weird. Okay? She says, oh, you can get this one. It's like our most popular one. It's really simple. It's just a simple cheeseburger, and it has mayonnaise on it. Something, you're just giving me a cheeseburger with mayonnaise? I'm like, you guys have any other sauce? Like a Thousand Island sauce? That's what I have right now. She's like, oh, well, it's not just a mayonnaise. It's like a nice lemon aioli. Or it's like, she shouldn't say nice. She said lemon aioli mayonnaise-based sauce. She says it just says mayonnaise on the menu, but it's more like aioli. My first thoughts, well, that's kind of weird. They say mayonnaise on the menu, but it's aioli. And then the second thing I thought was the cashier lady was really helpful, really nice. And that was really awesome. So I was like, it sounds pretty good, actually. A lemon aioli sauce, It was weird, though. So I ordered the burger. I get 2 burgers. It was pretty cheap. I think it was like $8.99 or something. And then I get like 2 of them, and then I get like and then I get a fry. And this is why it's good to ask questions. And I say, how big's the small? How big's the large fry? And she says, oh, we literally have like endless. We do like endless amounts in the restaurant. So when we give it to you to go, small will be more than enough. Basically, is what she was saying. It's gonna be a lot. And she's saying like you don't need the large. That's like if you have like a family. And she was serious. She was very serious about it. and I could feel and tell her seriousness. So I was like, okay, and I get the burgers, and I'd say it's a killer deal. It came out pretty quickly. I don't remember even taking that long at all, but it wasn't like too quick to where you're suspicious. You know, it should have taken a little longer. No, it's like the perfect timing, and like knowing they just got to it and had some stuff ready. Came out, and it was kind of funny because it's kind of like the first burger is a little different than the second one because I was so unbelievably hungry. So it goes to the first burger, and you know, the first thing I notice, I take a bite, is this is a big patty. Like here you have a, it's not definitely not a quarter pound. I'd say like a fifth of a pound or something. Okay. These burgers had a literal. It was at least. It was like in the middle of a third and a half of a pound of hamburger meat. So it's like I want to say it's actually closer to like I want to say like a fraction in the middle of that, but I'm thinking like it's almost closer to like a half pound. I'm serious. I've made burgers. I made like half pound burgers before. Let's make a big old burger. Yeah, it was. It seemed about like a half pound per burger. And I know they opened recently, so maybe I'm thinking, oh, they're doing big portions to kind of for the new customers, the opening, which I don't think is a problem at all. If they keep doing that, that'd be great. If it's the thing in the beginning, whatever, it's good in the moment, regardless. So I thought this is pretty cool. These are good portions. I take a bite, and it's cooked really. I tell them to cook it well done. I ask how they cook it. See, it's good to ask the questions. They say we do it medium normally, and I know medium can be anywhere from someone's standard of a little bit, some pink, some good amount of pink in the middle, to a not really any pink in the middle, and you're thinking, what the heck is this? To, and of course you never know, 100%. To some people, it's like not cooked very much at all. And they cook it really high on the outside. So it's like seared on the outside really nice, and the inside's like not cooked very much. So I wanted to go past all that. I just said, can you just cook it well done? And I know a good burger place, when you ask well done, they're not going to overcook it and do a burnt, dry patty or anything. It just means they're going to cook it all the way through. Okay? They're going to cook it to where it gets hot enough. They know what they're doing. They're chefs. If it's a good place, it's a burger place especially, okay? You're not just going to a restaurant, going to a burger, going to a burger place. Okay, I'm going to a burger place. That's what I do. The patty was big. There's a lot of suspense in the story, so I'm not just cutting to the chase of it, okay? But it was a spiced patty. And it was good though. I mean, I've spiced patties before, and I could tell that when I add, let's say, I'm not gonna say, oh, I know, I taste it. It has a little bit of this and it. No, no, no. I've done my own combination of spices and got a very similar flavor before. And what I did was mainly a good amount of cumin, a good amount of like garlic powder, probably garlic herb mix powder, at least garlic powder, maybe some onion powder too. That helps too. Definitely salt, pepper, of course. Um, what else would I do to achieve that flavor? And then, another thing would be I would add a little bit of barbecue sauce, and it was a very similar flavor to that. It was almost like a nicely spiced steak. Okay, but it had the flavor. Mm. It had the flavor that was similar to what I had as an outcome to what I just described. So I guess that's kind of meaningless, but I think I know how to get that. And it tastes pretty good as a burger, too. Doing the bunch of stuff with my hands. It's like Ricky Bobby. It's like, okay, put your hands down. And then you come up again and it's like, put them down. But basically, it was good. But like I was saying, I was really hungry. So the first burger, and I'm telling you, these are like half-pound patty burgers, man. So I'm like eating the first burger. I didn't even tell you about the fries. They give me a to-go box. And the burger's on one side. It's a good sized to-go box. It's not a square, but it's a rectangle. And it's probably, the burger's probably about this. It's a big burger, probably about this big. And the box is probably, like this. And it's a tall box, actually. I won't say that tall, like that tall. Like mountain of fries for one burger. I open, and then they give me another to-go box for the next burger. Same thing. So I get 2 of those. And then there's the sort of imposter on the side. There's the sauce on the side. And look at, okay, you get burger sauce. Look at that. Like a nice orange. Pretty, like it's opaque. What does that have to do with anything? Well, it has to do with this. I'm looking at this sort of transparent. Wait, translucent, transparent. I think transparent is more see-through. I think translucent is kind of foggy. Maybe I have it mixed up. It's been a while. I like to Google things. I'm not Googling it right now. But it was sort of foggy. So I think it's translucent, but it's sort of like foggy clear. Okay, so it sounds like that doesn't sound too appetizing. And then like slightly foggy white clear with a slight tinge of yellow. I don't want to say what it looked like because it's inappropriate, but it looked like something that's inappropriate to say. And it looked disgusting. And I was thinking, I'm going to have to put this on my burger to eat it because I want to have sauce with my burger. And then I look at the burger, and you know what they did? Do you know what they did? They had this really nice bun. Delicious. They had this really big patty. They had melted cheese on the top. Okay? You're waiting for me to say something more, right? There is nothing more. That was it. I mean, there was the top patty too. It was literally bun, burger, and melted cheese. And the burger patty, I mean, at least they, cooked it. It wasn't just like a raw patty. Like, you put like butter on it or something. You put like sauce or something. You don't just have raw, like dry patty. I mean, what am I saying? Dry a bun with your patty, and your patty, it should at least have some moisture, some tallow to be able to make the patty all moist. So that was sort of like, what's the word? Sacrilegious for burger experience. I was like, first off, you guys are gonna serve me a burger at a burger restaurant. You're gonna spice the patty. I didn't ask for a spiced patty. That's kind of cool once in a while. I thought, well, it's kind of a cool change because I'm used to a generic, regular burger taste where it's just salt, pepper, and a good meat. I didn't get the vibe like it was bad meat, so they wanted to cover it up with the spices. It tasted good and everything. But it was just like, for a burger restaurant, it's kind of weird to go against the grain and to do something vastly different than everyone else. One thing would be to spice your patties in a very specific way that sort of tastes like what I was describing, or it kind of tastes like some barbecue, maybe a little Worcestershire, or Worcestershire, however you pronounce that, and has kind of like a nice steak flavor. But you're eating into a burger and you taste like a nice spiced steak flavor, and it's kind of like when you have, I don't know if when this is, at least when I was a kid, I don't really eat junk food anymore, to be honest. It's whatever. It's just being honest. I would have goldfish, let's say, and candy next to each other. And I would just be like watching a movie. And then I would like grab some goldfish and I'd eat it. and it would be like really sweet and chewy, and I'd be like, but I would accidentally grab the candy thinking it was goldfish. That's what happened. And it was this weird experience because my brain expected the goldfish, and then it wasn't. This is a little bit far, but it was kind of like that with the burger, where I'm expecting the burger taste, and it's like, oh, like spiced patty. And I have to say, I'm guilty for this because, like I said, I've spiced my patties too. I've had my parents come over and I did a spiced patties, and they said it was really good. But looking back, it's sort of a sin, but it tastes good once in a while if you let the know people about it. You have to have consensual spiced patties. You can't just do a spice patty without letting people know. Okay, it's not informed consent. So this is going to kind of far with this, but the sauce, man, the sauce looked disgusting. I needed some sauce, like I'm describing the burger to you. It was a patty and bun and cheese, and that's it. And it wasn't like a greasy burger. And normally I wouldn't like be like, oh, I want a greasy burger or anything. But this time, I could say no. A greasy burger would probably be pretty nice that time, because it would have made everything. There would have been some moisture. What am I gonna do? I must use this weird foggy white sauce that has a weird yellow tinge to it. I haven't even told you how it tastes. She said lemon or aioli mayonnaise, whatever. She wasn't wrong. It was lemon stuff, sauce. But I don't know any mayonnaise that's like clear, like foggy white clear. Like if you took glycerin and somehow put something in it that made it all like foggy, like a white foggy milkiness throughout it. Kind of weird, right? So, and you just put a little yellow tinge in it, so you added some lemon flavor, something. So that's the thing. It was not a. It wasn't like a natural lemon flavor, like if you did like lemons. Like, of course, artificial lemon or even lemon essential oils, whatever it'll be. It's a pretty simple flavor profile, and it's just a lemon flavor. So I couldn't really tell if it was like artificial or if it wasn't, because it's just lemon. It's kind of hard to pinpoint that, and it was pretty light. But it didn't taste like it was from lemons. Definitely, probably it tasted like it was probably artificial. But they said there was mayonnaise on it, and then that's what they gave me. So it was just kind of weird. Um, the portions were really good though, but I ended up using a good amount of the sauce to eat the burger because I was hungry. Well, I ate one of the burgers with the sauce because I was hungry, and I was going sauce, sauce down. But then by the end of it, I was kind of grossed out. And it was mostly the visual look of it, being able to actually see the sauce, look at it, and think, I have to look at this while I'm eating it, and think about the texture of it, and the flavor wasn't anything that bad. I'd live if it looked like an actual sauce. Okay? I don't think it would have been that bad. But it probably would have been the same thing I ate it with the first burger. The second burger, actually, I waited until I got home, and I have my own Thousand Island sauce, and I just did that with it. And then I just put the burger back in the oven. Actually, like, put the patty in the oven, and then I put the fries in the oven with it. They got all warm, and I put the bun near the end, got that warm, put it back together. There wasn't much since it was just the bun and the burger, but it was all warm again. And then I had my own sauce, and it was good, but then I was almost like not as hungry. And then I was thinking, what the heck are they doing with the spice burger thing at a burger restaurant? No one's gonna ask for that. Oh, can you make my bun or my patty taste like it's kind of like spiced like a steak or something? It's like, no, I'd buy a steak if I wanted that, or I'd tell someone to do that. It wasn't bad though. It was good. It was just like kind of going against the grain. Like if Gordon Ramsay was there, he'd be like, "You put the spices in the patty," and he'd like literally take it and frisbee it at some guy's face or something. You know, he'd like tell him he's a disgrace of a human for making that. One topic I wanted to bring up is like these stupid prankster videos and like just drama in general. Like I kind of try to stay away from all the internet BS. But this past week, I've looked into like what are people all spending their time looking at. I want to kind of see because I don't have TikTok. I don't really spend any time on Instagram or anything like that. I do spend a good amount of time on YouTube, but it's normally watching my own videos. I'm not my own, but like my own bubble of videos that are recommended to me. And most of the time it's music. Just listening to music. I was like, what is everyone kind of, listening to? And I found different, some of the bigger channels talk about random stuff. Some of it was like just some random responding to crazy text messages or something I never would really be curious about. But I've dealt with some crazy people in my life, and kind of the thought process was I want to see how crazy people can be and think about, kind of prepare my mind that that's out there. And if that's out there, I want to be able to very respond to it very rationally. That's what I'm about. I want someone to be able to freak out at me and scream at me and pour chocolate milk into my face. And then I sit there and I get my finger and I say, thank you. That's some good chocolate milk. And I walk away and say, have a good day. So I really want to have a good composure in life. And, everyone struggles with things. So I struggle with not being where I want to be with that. Um, I don't really think it's anything bad. I think it's just I am like everyone else and I respond to things. But I'm trying to figure out, okay, how can I respond to things so I don't get walked on, but in a way also that's rational. And by rational, it's a lot of times doing no harm to others. But you still have to protect yourself. So how do you protect yourself and not do harm to others? And it's a thing to figure out as one gets older, as I'm getting older. Because I've never wanted to do harm to others. And what I was thinking about this actually today is that a lot of people respond and get, really angry at people. And I've kind of had the opposite to where I've kind of had insecurities and I've had mostly a lot of insecurities. And I've kind of just hidden about them and not really said anything, not responded, been quiet, more quiet, more quiet, more quiet. And I don't randomly like lash out on people. Like I've just been, gotten really quiet. And I'm realizing like, okay, like I need to not do that. And I need to how do I say this is a big topic. So I don't know what I could really say about that, but that's kind of what's been going on. Yeah, I'm trying to work on that. I've been trying to work on that for a while. And I think that's more of my older self. But, I'm still growing from that. And I'm trying to figure out how to be proud of myself in a humble way, too. There's a lot of things going into this. Because another thing is, I don't want to talk about the prankster visit. It's still in my mind. I do want to talk about that. There's these prankster people. There's these alpha male people. And I'd say the alpha male people and the prankster people are almost like they go hand in hand. They're completely different people, but they almost have like a similar immaturity in life. And there's these alpha male people, and they sort of tell you how to live your life in a certain way. Like, there was this panel, and I don't know, it's this Wes Watson guy or whatever, and he's talking at this Fresh and something, Fit and Fresh. This is all new to me. He's talking at this panel, and this guy kind of acting like he runs the show. Basically, there's these people, and they say, there's a moderator, and he says, okay, so I'm going to ask everyone, like, what's the meaning of success to you? Passes the mic around. Or actually, they each have mics. They each talk one by one. You, chronological. Okay? It gets to this West guy. Every time it gets to him, he's saying things and, like, pointing at the camera and acting like everything he's saying is going to be, like, snipped in some short and be some motivational video for people. It's kind of funny. He's so full of himself. But then it gets to this Andrew guy, and he's this Christian guy. I think he has a channel called The Crucible or something. Actually, I have not looked into that, but I saw in the comments someone say that. Or a Christian channel or something. I'm not really religious, but I was born and raised Christian, so I respect it. I do think a lot of the things Christians follow are also very good ideologies and ways of living, if they don't get too extreme. But basically it gets to him, the Christian guy, and he goes, I think the meaning of... And he goes, I know what I'm going to say is going to be a little different than everyone else. And he says, I think the meaning of success is being able just to spend time with your family. Basically says that. And it's like when he said that, like, something popped in that West guy's brain. And he's like his roid rage kicked in. The dude, like, smells something. He, like, gets up and just totally unhinged. Looks at the guy. I mean, there was some stuff in between it, of course, but you could see for yourself. Basically concludes by the steroid West guy looking at the Andrew guy and saying, oh, so you think it's all about those sort of things? You think it's just about family and you don't think it's about success? How much money do you have? And the guy's saying he doesn't have that much money. It's not about money to him. It's about spending time with his family. And the West guy, I don't know if it was at this moment, but at some point he mentioned that it's good to separate. When you have family, it's family. When you have success, it's work. I think he was saying, or when you have work, it's work. I think he thinks success is work or money. And then he's saying when you go gym, it's the gym. And you got to get as ripped as possible and all this stuff. It's a very funny mindset. Very simple-minded. But then he projects on everyone and says everyone else has to think the same way, or they're not looking at their best self because of that. So it's a weird fallacy. But then he projects that onto this guy. And he says, look at you, are you proud of yourself? And the guy goes, I mean, yeah, I'm proud of myself. And okay, let's be honest. The guy doesn't have the best posture. I think after the West guy said something, he kind of had a little worse of a posture because he wasn't trying to sit up because of what the guy said. And he's basically saying, are you proud of yourself? And the guy's like, yeah, I'm proud of myself. And he's like, are you proud of your body? Are you proud of how you look in the mirror if you took your shirt off? And then he was And then I don't know what if the Andrew guy directly responded to that. I don't remember. But then the West guy starts saying, "You have man titties. You got boobs. Guys shouldn't have boobs." And then he's basically telling him that he's not proud of himself, and he's like lying to himself. His body's telling him not to do all these things all the time, like sit down and read books, because he said he likes to read books, but he should go out and exercise instead of it. And okay, he has some points to what he's saying. There's somewhere in there's some sort of love, and he's looking out for people and he's caring for people, but he's on this roid rage rampage, so it's not coming out correctly, and he's going about it all wrong. But you do hear some, I don't even want to say wisdom with this guy, but you do hear some sort of maybe what is disguised or resembles some wisdom. Like some stuff he says, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I could see where you're coming from. They just kind of take it to like a total douche level, though, is the problem. It's like, okay, you kind of have some good points, and then you take the douche thing being a douchebag and you throw it off the cliff and you add that to it. And it's like, okay, it doesn't have to be all about that. And that's basically what happened. The guy's screaming at a guy saying, "You have man boobs," and you gotta check it out, it's funny. But then the other guys aren't any better than the West guy. They're just more quiet. And it's most of the guys, at least. They're saying the guys on the left and there's the guys on the right and they're separated. It was kind of true. The guys on the left, for the most part, I think there was one guy that was wearing like a nice suit. And you could tell this guy, he's the one guy who's wearing like a suit to like he's talking in front of a crowd to people to be successful as this millionaire figure. That's who he is. Maybe you should wear a suit, maybe, right? The one guy wears like not even a legitimate suit, like a casual suit. He's the one guy who just says some good points and kind of keeps his mouth shut and doesn't say any stupid immature stuff like he's a 20-year-old who got money too quickly because his dad helped him start a business and he got the world and, you know, lost his soul sort of story. Seems like that's all the other guys were. So you see all these other guys and they're sitting there, and most of them are all tatted up, and they're pretty jacked, you know, it's pretty cool, okay? You maybe wouldn't mess with them, they look tough and stuff, okay? That's all cool. I respect that, but when you hear them talk, all the respect just goes down the toilet. Each one of them, side by side, they're talking about success, and they're like, oh yeah, basically success is like having just millions of dollars and being able to have like all these super fancy cars and being able to do whatever you want, you know, just like, basically, the West guy is talking for all those people. And what he says is, he randomly brings this up too. No one asks him, he randomly says, oh yeah, this girl saw my Lambo, she saw the inside of it. And she like said something, oh my gosh, it's so nice, I can't believe it. And then he's all, you know what I said to her? This is my least nice car. And he was basically saying, like, you gotta have to be able to say that to girls. And he's saying, I make $5,000 a day, even if I sit back and play video games, but I don't sit back and play video games because I'm not a loser, basically, sort of thing. And, like, when I'm looking at the guy, okay, we need people like this in our society. He's like a drill sergeant, okay? We need it in our society. We need this guy. But don't be this guy. You don't want to be him. He says things that have some truth to them. Like what he's saying to the guy about the man titties not being fit. I mean, you could see there's some honesty in it when you're looking at the whole thing and you kind of look at the guy and he's kind of sitting hunched over the whole conversation after that because he doesn't want to show his man titties. Okay? Just seems like what happened. So is it tough love? I think it is. But is it sort of like good intentions, but just because it's good intentions doesn't mean you're still a dick? I think that's also the case. Just because you have good intentions doesn't mean you're not being a jerk. You can still be a jerk and have perfectly good intentions. And you can go about ways that handling problems that no one's going to want to listen to you, like this guy, the West guy, went about. And even if at that point you have some truth to what you're saying, what's the point if no one's going to listen to you because of how you're delivering it? Okay? Where am I going with this? I don't know. But it's an important lesson. Here's some backtrack. So because I watched that drama, then I was like, oh, this is like some dramatic BS stuff. And it kind of made me feel the heat of that West guy. Like, being around that and seeing the Andrew guy just kind of respond rationally. You know, he was setting the example. And it's always good to see someone set the example, and it's always good to be able to set the example for other people in situations. It's a really good thing to be able to do. So he's setting this good example for me and for the other people watching, responding to this roid rage guy saying, you have man titties, you're not proud of your body. And okay, let's just be honest. I'm gonna be real honest here. I'm sorry, Dad, but my dad was working really hard when I was younger, and he was working so hard, so many hours, that he ended up gaining a good amount of weight pretty quickly. He was just working. He was probably sitting mostly and eating a lot more or something. He's always really active, so he just wasn't so active. You know, he got a little bigger, and maybe he did kind of have some entities a little bit. I don't remember that. I just remember he got kind of a little bit chubby. But when I saw that he was chubby, and at the moment I realized he was chubby, I was sad because I wanted him to be healthy. Okay. But looking back, I realized that I'm proud of him. And it was shortly after, even when he kind of told me. I could tell him, like, hey, Dad, I'd want you used to be so fit and you're not doing so much stuff. And, you know, like, it bums me out to see you not seem so happy and vibrant anymore. And you don't look so healthy either. He's just like a little bit bigger. And, you know, flat out one day he tells me, I've been trying to make more money so we as a family can enjoy ourselves more. I'm the bread maker of the family. And if we want to do stuff as a family, I had a brother, I have a mom, then he's going to have to go to work more and figure out or pull some, you know, make some things happen to make some more money so we can do some stuff. And that's the way the world works. At least the world that we live in, the economy we live in, how we live. And I accepted that, and I was proud of him, because I thought my dad gained some weight because he was working so hard. And I think my mom may have been also the main person who kind of really reciprocated that to me, to, hey, you know, lay off your dad. I know you want to see him better. Because sometimes I'd be like, hey, you know, maybe I'd say something not so nice. I don't remember what it would be, but I think I probably would, to be honest. I was immature. Still working on it. But my mom probably would tell me, like, hey, you know, I think she respected it, so she's telling me, like, hey, you know, he's working hard. Where am I going with this? The Andrew guy who was responding to this West guy, it's the same thing. He's just saying, hey, I've been working on my family. I think the values of life are I think success is having to do with spending time with your family. I'm wording it all weird. You know what I mean? You have the time to be able to spend time with your family. He thinks that's what success really is. And having the connection to God too. But, you know, having the family has to do with that. And it ties into what I'm saying. Because the guy's probably a little overweight. Because he's probably been working on his family a lot. Unlike the West guy. You do some research into the West guy. And in the interview thing, he said he had 2 kids. Just like what a lot of people say, who seem to have some sort of problem when people talk about their family. Or maybe it seems like there's something missing in their life. And it's just the truth. And people oftentimes say, well, I do have kids. And then when you dig a little deeper, you realize they have, um, what do you call it, stepkids? Yeah, you'd call it stepkids because they married someone who had kids. They never actually uh, reproduced with someone, okay? And there's people who haven't reproduced with other people before, and they get up to a certain age, or they're probably a little too old, or who knows what happens. And sometimes it seems like they wanted to do that, but they never did it. Okay? And I have a feeling with the West guy, uh, I wouldn't dig that deep, but there's something about him not having a family that hits some sort of trigger with him. You could tell. Because all the Andrew guy was talking about was spending time with his family. And it hit something, a nerve in the West guy. And the West guy just, and then the Andrew guy says, "Well, do you have a family?" At one point, the West guy goes, "Yeah, I have two kids." And then Andrew goes, "Okay, well then, do you think that your Bugatti and all your millions of dollars is more important than your own kids?" And do you know what he says? Do you know what he? You have to watch this because it's like, oh my god, it's the worst part of masculinity all in one male. His response to that is, well, when my kids see me and my Bugatti and my millions of dollars shirtless, all ripped and jacked, they're gonna say there's my daddy's a superhero. That's literally what he said. So basically they're saying because he's such a badass and he's living this best life, he has all these things. It's all materialism, but he he has all these things. It's somehow significant to the kids. And that just shows how disconnected he is from reality. Because one thing, to have a kid be into cars is specific. I wouldn't say rare, I would say specific. Some kids are into cars, some kids aren't. Or is your kid gonna look at you with your Bugatti and be impressed with it? I don't know. Is your kid gonna be impressed with materialistic things? I don't know. Especially a lot of times, if your kid is the super rich, privileged kid, he grew up in this super rich home, is he even going to look at things like a Bugatti as a big deal? And I could tell you as a fact, no. I've grown up next to people who have a very large amounts of money. They'll get sports cars in high school from their parents, and they don't see, none of those people really ever seem very grateful. I don't know if I've met one that turned out well, just being honest. Okay, you gotta work for what you have in life. And I'm not saying every one that came from a family with a lot of money just got everything handed to them. I'm saying the ones that did get everything handed to them, I don't know one of them that it turned out well for. They all just got full of themselves, thought they were the shit, and everyone thought they weren't the shit, and they had a really tough time even having a social life, which they always try to do, because no one really, thinks they're all. People just want to have friends. People don't want to look at you like you're some like superhero or something. People don't care about that. If I'm a superhero, I'll care about that. But if you're a superhero, I'll care if you're saving people or whatever. I'm not gonna call you a superhero if you're driving around in a Ferrari or something, though. I'll tell you that. You know what it tells me when someone spends a bunch of money? That they spent a bunch of money. That's what it tells me. So that's not like a bad thing. It's just the fact of the matter. You spend a bunch of money. You're spending a bunch of money. Do you have millions of dollars to spend? Because if you don't, then maybe you should save. Maybe you shouldn't spend your money on a bunch of random things to impress people who don't care. Do you know who's going to be impressed with materialistic things? People who want to use you for those things, or take your money somehow, or use you somehow to get something out of you. Those people will care about what you have. The people who don't care about using you and taking things from you, and that your position in their life has to do with something that advantages them in some way, if you don't have those people, they're not going to care about if you have a whole bunch, if you're loaded with a bunch of money and have a bunch of materialistic things, super fancy car, or anything like that. Okay? There's people out there, and it's called most people, that are proud to work for what they have. Okay? So there's no need to follow this really bad train of these alpha males or whatever the heck they call themselves. You can't be an alpha male if you call yourself an alpha male. I think that completely excludes from the fact alpha male's an observation from someone else. If you call yourself an alpha male, game over. You're not an alpha male, and you just stopped any opportunity from that ever happening in your lifetime. I need to fill up more water for the second burger. Still gonna talk about pranksters, but tell me I'm going backwards. Okay, first a disclaimer. I don't think what I'm saying is important. I don't think I'm an important person, so I don't think like I'm making videos because I'm have important things to say or something. I just wanted to make this video to talk about things. But yeah, those alpha males, don't you do it. Don't you listen to them. They say the most ridiculous thing. You know, I think it's the simple things just like, don't gain the world if you're going to lose your soul. It speaks such depths. If you don't understand that, sometimes people just don't understand things, and it's good for someone to explain things. It's sort of saying, it's a pretty heavy topic, but to sum it up, it could simply, on like a boiled down scale that kind of sums it up, but really doesn't say the depths of it. You might strike an opportunity to where you become very successful with wealth, and you have a lot of money, and you maybe have a big house, you have all these things that you ever dreamed of that money could buy. It may happen, and let's say it happens to the extent to where you have everything and you're the shit. You're not just like you think you're the shit, like people think you are the shit. Let's just say that. Okay? There's famous actors like this, things like this have happened, and it gets to their head. It does something. And not for everyone, but it can. And it's like this Wes Watson guy. Like I was saying, every time the camera goes on him, all you gotta do, you just gotta tell yourself, make the best version of yourself, and you know you're not proud of yourself. So you gotta find those things you know you're not proud of, and you gotta work on those, because if you don't, you're lying to yourself. And he thinks every time the camera goes on him, it's gonna be that snipped, and it's gonna be a motivational video on TikTok everyone's gonna be watching and saying this one video changed my life or something. No. So you get full of yourself. And that's what happens is you gain the world in whatever way. People think you're the shit, you have everything you could ever imagine. And you lose your soul. You lose touch with what it means to not just be an individual human, but to be a part of humanity. That's what is missing, is the big picture. And I think I'm a pretty young guy. But as I'm getting older, I'm able to see that where a lot of times I had misunderstanding in life, It's not seeing the big picture, simply put. And I think a lot of problems have to do with misunderstanding. If I didn't listen to the Moody Blues tell me that, I wouldn't know that. So the Moody Blues taught me that. But a lot of problems simply have to do with misunderstanding. You're not understanding certain things. You might feel frustrated, you might feel angry. And a lot of this comes to some level of misunderstanding. And when I really put that to the test in life, I didn't just think about it deeply, I thought about it deeply and then I tested it. It came true. Here's one example. I was actually at a symphony and I'm sitting there and I'm listening to this symphony and this dude's literally with his, okay, so my legs are here, his legs are here, and he's with his knee, he keeps butting my leg. But then he keeps butting my leg, but then he stiff legs. So he butts my leg I'll be kind of relaxed, he'll butt my leg, and as my leg reacts to that, it gets bumped over a bit, then he stiffens his leg and keeps it there. And then he does it more. And by the end of it, I'm sitting there. I'm not sitting in my chair straight, like my arms, like my legs like this. You can see my legs. I'm sitting in my chair with my legs all the way over to, because the guy's on this side. I have my legs going on the other side, cramped like this at this point. This dude's legs are spread out into my chair area. And I'm thinking, this guy's just being a total jerk. I have no idea what his problem is. And I'm thinking that in my head, like, why do people have to be jerks? And then something crossed my mind. What if it's a misunderstanding? Because I thought it, I mean, it probably is. But I don't understand why he would keep butting my leg. So I either said, hey buddy, or I tap him on the shoulder. I think I just turned over and said, hey, excuse me. The dude, he was sleeping, and he wakes up, and it was in the middle of a symphony though, so I didn't expect him to be sleeping, because I think it was a Mahler symphony. It was like the second movement, and it was, you like wait a while for these things, maybe all year, because you hear about it the year in advance, and you wait all year to hear the symphony, and that's what I thought everyone else did at least. So I'm thinking, there's no way, I didn't cross my mind the guy would be sleeping. I keep looking at my eyebrow, it looks like a unibrow in this video, it's so weird, I don't know why, it's like a shadow. But yeah, the guy wakes up, and he immediately like puts his legs back, and he kind of looks super embarrassed, and he's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And he didn't explain himself, like, it was obvious he was like sleeping, he just was, said I'm sorry. And we're, watching a symphony, so we're not talking a lot. But that was great, a great experience for me. It's great to go out, to experience things, to have experience in life. And one thing is to be able to try to test the things that you think are happening and see if that's what's really happening. Try to see the brighter side is kind of where I'm coming from. In my mind, I was thinking this guy's being a jerk. He's spreading his legs out. He keeps hitting my leg. What is this guy doing? It turns out he was an old guy and he fell asleep to a symphony. So I actually probably was a good thing for both of us because it was a me waking him up was a good learning experience for me. That was a misunderstanding from what I thought in the beginning. And then he got to actually enjoy it and not sleep through it. Why are you sleeping, man? So funny. But I never talked about the plane sleeping. But I think that's a good topic right there, is that you got to start to comprehend when things happen in life. If something goes hostile, if something goes negative, if you do something, someone's screaming at you, blah, blah, you really have to try to bring to the table, I think there's a misunderstanding. Okay. And that can really calm things down because if it's hard to get people to realize that. But a lot of times in life, that's what's going on in a lot of these conflicts. And I think even it goes to the level of, I don't want to talk about it too much, but of war. I think a lot of it's misunderstanding and, of course, being scared. And I think not understanding something and being scared, those go hand in hand. And that's another thing, actually, is I think that's a great thing to tie into this, is being scared of something because you don't understand it and you don't know what it is, you don't know enough about it. So I was at a lake yesterday. I was at a lake yesterday. I just had to remember, was it yesterday? It was such a long day yesterday and today. Seems it feels like it was 2 days ago, if you know what I mean. So yeah, it was definitely yesterday. And it was a bright sunny day, and it wasn't overcast, which normally is here. Went out on a lake paddleboarding. And I grew up on the ocean, and I've gone swimming. I'll go out on the beach. I'll swim past the sandbar. I'll swim what they call sandbar. I understand more the drop off. I'll swim past the drop off to the deep zone. 'Cause I mean, where my beach was, you'd be able to swim a while, and there'll be a straight drop off to the real deep parts of the ocean. I'd swim out there. I mean, I'm not saying I'm the smartest guy. I'm not saying that isn't kind of testing nature a bit. But from what I understand, you have a higher chance of getting struck by lightning in the middle of a golf ball field playing golf than you do getting attacked by a shark. What statistics I think are kind of stupid. Like, okay, well, that's I think it's statistics sort of are a fallacy in themselves, and I do not like the word fallacy. I'll tell you this. I think fallacy is something people come out of college, they commonly use the word a lot because they heard someone talk about it. But it has its place. But getting to the good part. I'm not afraid of the ocean, I'm not afraid of stuff. But I've always had one fear. And it's if something went wrong when I'm alone. If no one's ever there. I have that fear anytime. In my life. And I'm alone a lot. So I mean it's just a topic. You know, it's a thought that goes through my mind. It's good to think about things that could go wrong too. So would I go swimming way out in the middle of the ocean by myself? No. Because if something happened, if a shark did happen to come by, there'd be no one there. No one to say anything, no one to help me, no one. I did that with friends. We'd go, rock jumping and cliff jumping and all sorts of things. But I also grew up going to a lake not every year, but many years with my family. We'd have a boat. We'd do the same thing, rock jumping, cliff jumping. We do the all sorts of the water sports though, so like the inner tubing and the wakeboarding, all sorts of things. We even do like knee boarding, a bunch of random things. Super giant tubes. I was not afraid of the water. But I'm always afraid of being completely alone, something happening. I guess that just sums it all up. So I went to a lake yesterday, and I thought, I want to get past this fear, because it's in an ocean, yeah. Let's go with it. Ocean actually makes sense. Yeah, sharks and stuff, okay? And there's a lot of other things in the ocean too, but mainly it would just be sharks. But being in a lake, that's kind of ridiculous. The one thing I was thinking about that was funny was there's the smallest chance that if you're in what I think is called a Great Lake, I don't know if that's a correct term actually, but a lake that is connected by rivers ultimately to the ocean. So if you have a lake by you, or if you know of a lake, or there's lakes that are not man-made, you can see a lot of times they'll connect to other lakes, or maybe they'll just connect to rivers. At one point, basically, a lake will connect to a river that'll connect ultimately to the ocean, like the Mississippi River. So look it up. They've actually found sharks in the Mississippi River. I think like two, like back in 19 something. but it's the fact that sharks. My parents always joke with me and they say, "Oh, we're at a lake," and they tell you you're gonna see a freshwater shark. Be careful, and they wouldn't say it like oh boo hoo like bullet, but they would just it was a joke. Like, oh, be careful of those freshwater sharks, and I would laugh, ha ha, because I'd know I'm in a lake. There's nothing to worry about, and there was. Um, if there was something to worry about, certain lakes, maybe if there's certain fish or whatever, there'd be stories. People would hear about it. Okay, maybe you'd be the first unlucky person. Very rare. So don't be afraid to be the first unlucky person to get attacked by some random uh, fish, because that's probably not going to happen. That was my thought process when I was there. Like, it's the smallest chance anything could happen. And so I went in the lake and had no life vest or anything. And I paddle boarded way out into the middle of the lake. And then I swam back. And it took forever. I swear, I swam for over an hour probably because my arms were already tired from paddleboarding. But I had to tell myself, I have to not be afraid to swim in the middle of a damn lake with no life vests. I mean, I'm really not, but something in me is afraid to do that alone if something goes wrong. Then I'm sitting there saying, "What the heck's gonna go wrong though?" Nothing's gonna go wrong, and there are enough people that if something did, there's people there where I could scream in the distance probably. But if I was at an ocean, I'd be afraid. If I was that far out, I was really far out. Took me like an hour to swim back, like I'm telling you, literally. So like I could like barely see the people in the distance that I was swimming towards. Um, and there wasn't fear about that. It was just me breaking the fear of doing something alone that in my mind has the small chance of something going wrong and me dying or something. But then it was baby steps. So the baby step was the lake. Okay, there's probably nothing going that's gonna happen on a damn lake. And then I could take that to other things. And of course, you don't want to push the boundaries of life too much. I mean, life is fragile. We see a fly in our house and we kill it, and with the right mindset, that can reveal to us how fragile life is in a split second. And someone going, bam, that thing's life went from alive to dead like that. So, but I sort of was crazy when I was younger. So I've been settling down lately in life, but I settled down so much. Well, I've just been like busy studying and crap. But because of that, I've been like kind of like playing it real safe. Like I don't want to get hurt anymore and stuff. I used to get hurt a lot. I used to like be really irresponsible and just like have fun, 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 fun. And so I've been like kind of hard on myself because that was my past. I was a kid, you know, no regrets. Before moving on to the prankster topic, I don't know if anyone's even gonna watch this ever. I don't really care. I just want to eat these burgers and talk about random stuff first. Can you eat some more fries before I keep talking more? You'll be able to eat the rest of this. Yeah, moving on from that conversation, I guess. I, I just kind of want to sum it up with it's good to be able to kind of step back from life, look back on things I've previously thought, kind of look back at my past self, the way I used to look at things, perceive things, respond to things, and just try to improve on that. But then try to realize what was causing me not to improve. And a lot of it is simply the misunderstanding. And it's been such a great experience just to ask more questions with people, be more open with people, be more friendly and positive with people, to where then you're able to see the truth and, not be blinded by misconceptions and confusion. Then pranksters. This all feeds into me seeing that Wes Watson guy's video. Because I try to stay away from this stuff. I see the Wes Watson guy's video, and then I saw some other videos about, like, drama, like, crazy people with crazy text messages. He was probably linked to that, and I was like, huh. So watch some videos on that. It's kind of stupid. But, I mean, they were kind of interesting, some of them. It was like, okay, there's some crazy people out there. I was mainly seeing a mental thing, like, how would you respond to those people rationally? But then there's these prankster people, and I saw these prank videos, and it all started with this one prank video. And, who was it? I don't even know the person. They had like less than 1,000 subscribers. They weren't anyone big. And they went around acting like a complete little kid. The guy literally went on a little kid thing in front of a bunch of adults. I was looking at them saying, "Goo goo gaga, goo goo gaga." And then when they didn't pay attention to him, he went in front of them and then did this and then kept doing that. And then they just looked at him and said, "Oh, well, I know you're trying to make your TikTok video or whatever, but I'm not really interested in being in it." And that was like the entire video. And the guy was literally going up to people, moaning, like sexually, in their ears. And like he would pick on the worst people. There'd be like an old lady like in a wheelchair. And he'd like moan in her ear and she'd be like, "Oh my gosh." And then he'd be like, "Ah, I'm just messing with you." That's the whole thing, it's just a prank. These people are nuances to society, menaces to society. I'm not saying a nuance. A total menace and disgrace to society. But it's all a prank, so it's not a big deal. And that's how this guy went about it. So, there's one point, and the guy's literally, he did this to multiple people. He's basically cornering people in the store, and he'll maybe even put a shopping cart somewhere where they can't really move, and then you'll like get in front of them, and you'll start like messing with them a bunch, and making it really awkward, and they'll say like, "Can you just leave me alone, please?" But they're trying to shop, so they don't just walk away, because they're there for a reason. They're looking for something, and he knows that. So he fucks with them while they're like looking for something, and they're like, "Can you just leave me alone, please? Like, I'm just trying to find the right shampoo or something, and I keep finding this other brand. They put my shampoo in, the wrong part of the store now." And this guy's just like sitting there hassling them, acting like a little kid. Literally, he's trying to act like a little immature kid, and that's the whole video. But not one person responded to it, really, in other than two ways. One was 80% of the people, at least, basically, like I was saying, just said, "Yeah, I don't want to be a part of your TikTok prank video. Thanks, though." And they'd walk away. And it would just be awkward. Like, this guy's acting like a fool. No one cares. People are just looking at him like, "I don't want to be in your damn stupid video." And he's completely degrading himself to the public and posting it online, the worst place where it's always going to be, just to maybe get some, hopefully some views and some likes and some attention. But then he goes up to one guy, and you can tell right off the bat the guy's saying, "Don't mess with me." And he's keeps messing with him. And the guy says, "Don't mess with me. Stop messing with me. I don't want to be in your damn video." Oh, and I remember exactly what the guy said. He said, "It's not a TikTok video. It's an OnlyFans video." And he's in a store just harassing people. So he's just being a total, total jerk. And the guy just keeps saying, "Hey, back off." And the guy doesn't back off. So then the guy grabs the other guy, the camera that's being filmed. It turns out it's the guy's girlfriend filming the whole thing, which don't really believe. It's some girl. And he's videotaping it. The guy grabs the camera and then says, "Do you want me to smash this damn thing?" And at this point, you see the video, the guy's grabbing the camera. Saying, "Do you want me to smash this thing?" At that point, you think, okay, what happens? The prankster, whatever guy, probably says, okay, this is enough. This has gone too far. Give me my camera back. I'll leave you alone, whatever. No. The prankster guy says, "You just assaulted my girl because you touched her." So he instantly pulls the victim card. Like, "I'm gonna get on your ass now." He literally has it all on video though. He's the total jerk. So now he's saying, "Oh, now you're in trouble because you harassed my girl. I'm gonna get you for that." And the guy's saying, "I'm gonna smash your damn camera if you don't leave me alone." And then the guy mentions he has he's a 9mm pistol in his pocket. And he says, "I'll pull out my 9mm. And then, the prankster guy then says, pull your 9, pull it out. I don't see you pulling anything out." He's asking a guy to pull a gun out on him, okay? And in most cases, the guy's going to be bluffing. But the time that he isn't bluffing, you're going to get shot. So you're playing with, like, total Russian roulette you're playing actual Russian roulette with a revolver that you're spinning the chamber. It has one bolt loaded in one of them, and then you're going to your head and shooting it. Maybe it's not that far, but he's doing that. He's telling the guy to pull out his gun. And I watched maybe one or partially two other videos, and same thing. He's in a state where it's concealed carry. So sometimes people will have weapons on them, and they'll tell him that. And they'll say, "Hey, meet me outside." And you know what he says every time? "It's just a prank, bro. It's just a prank." And he thinks they're instantly gonna drop everything and say, "Oh, it's just a prank. No big deal." That works if you're, I don't know, doing something ridiculous. People can't understand what you're doing and they're trying to figure out, and it's not really ruining their day. It's just kind of weird or something. And then you say, "Oh, it's just a prank." And people say, "Oh, it's just a prank." And they laugh. You can't just harass people and say it's a prank. And this guy was going past that level. But then it keeps going. It goes pretty far. At a certain point, the guy's just saying, "Hey, I kept telling you to leave me alone. That's why I'm grabbing your camera." But the prankster guy, thinks he's gonna act manly and step up to the guy. So he starts screaming at him and whining like a child in a high-pitched voice. Like saying, "You want to pull out your gun?" And then he mentions that he used to be a boxer or something, and his hands are registered. and that he couldn't throw a punch on the guy because his hands are registered or something like that. It's supposed to be a threat. And it's ridiculous because if that is true and you're going around acting like that, are you just trying to get killed? Are you trying to have someone kill you? I really don't get it. So it's kind of an eye-opener of a video because I didn't realize there were videos like that online about pranksters. I knew there were the prankster guys and they were really annoying and they'd harass people in stores. But this was next level. But then I got recommended other videos of the same thing. I saw like 5 other channels doing the same thing. And it's the same thing. They don't have a whole lot of followers, but they do have people subscribing, liking, and commenting saying, dude, this is hilarious. However, not found your channel earlier. So, we're at a dark time in society. Or in history. Oh, and then at one point in the video too, as they're, the guy's saying, oh, his hands are registered, all stuff, the guy has his camera. The guy that grabbed his camera, I think walks away, or at some point's walking away. And at one point, a different random guy puts the prankster guy in a chokehold on the ground and is choking the guy out. And then after a while, he lets him go. And then that's when they go outside and stuff, and he starts saying, like, oh, like, you guys saw me snap a bit, but that wasn't even snapping for me. Like, I was just getting a little bit angry. And it was really crazy just to know someone like that is out there. And it seemed like he was ready to fight to a battle of death with someone to prove that him harassing them was a prank. It's like, bro, why is this so serious? Like, I thought it was a prank, but then it's not a prank. But then when you're trying to convince the people it's a prank and they're responding to it, like he was threatening them. And then, oh, that actually leads me to the other video that I saw. And there's another video, and there's this prankster guy, and he goes up to people and sucker punches them in the back of the head, and then pulls out a gun on them and says, I'm gonna fucking kill you. And then at some point says, it's just a prank. Man, that was the video. Okay? And it was the weirdest thing ever. So he literally sucker punches some guy in the back of the head, and the guy like turns around, and then he threatens to kill the guy with pointing a gun at the guy's head, and the guy keeps responding. So he puts the guy in a chokehold and starts choking him off. And then at a certain point, the guy backs off. And after he probably told him he was going to kill him and is choking him out and had a gun pointed at him. And then he tells the guy it's a prank. And then they shake hands. So because they shook hands and he told the guy it was a prank, the guy got interviewed on the news. And he said they didn't show the good parts of the video. It just didn't show the part where we shook hands after everything was dealt with. And I told him it was a prank. I was like, wait a sec. So I think that should be, considered attempted murder if you sucker punch someone. But if you sucker punch someone in the back of the head, that should definitely be attempted murder. This is the guy is literally swinging his hand full force in the back of some guy's head. Yeah, I don't know. We're in a very dark place in history. That's not going to be, people aren't going to look at this part of history lightly. It's not going to be a good thing. So I think pranksters are some of the worst people in our society on YouTube. For those alpha male people, they're in the same damn boat. I'm gonna think how that makes sense, but it does. I was thinking about it yesterday or something. I don't think it has to do with their ideologies or what they're doing. I just think it's the conclusion. Thinking about it deeper, a little deeper. The ideologies and the way of thinking and living just ends up shaping someone in a way that definitely is not what our society thinks a man should be. And of course, there's women too, but you'd see most of these. I mean, alpha male, that's men. Then the pranksters, it's mostly men. Or at least the ones that I've seen that do the worst stuff. But yeah, I got in a little rabbit hole that I saw some stupid videos. Looking back, wasn't very meaningful. Wouldn't rate it a very good experience. And would probably not want to spend my time doing that again. So, learn some stuff from it. And I guess I wouldn't say the pranksters are that bad. It's the pranksters that aren't are not pranksters, but they are just horrible people who call it a prank. Because there are some people who do like Ed Bassmaster. I'm gonna be honest. I think that guy is kind of a jerk, and he just puts on certain costumes to be able to act like a jerk to people in public and record it with some sort of justification. But it is pretty funny, and he's not really hurting anyone. He's not really harassing people. I mean, you could in a minor way say he's kind of just messing with people. He's kind of just acting like a big jerk and going out in public and acting like this big personality a lot. Okay, and sometimes it's not even being a jerk. Sometimes it's acting like a complete fool. Sometimes it's acting like a really weird person, like where he says, "Would you look at that? Would you look at that? Would you look at that?" I mean, he has his different characters. So when I think of someone like Ed Bassmaster, I actually think that guy's pretty funny. But when I think deep down what he does, he's probably kind of a jerk, to be honest, and that's probably why he does that. But he does it in a good way. And there's some pranksters like that. So pranks can be good, and I think it's a funny thing to be able to jest with people, to be able to, lighten people up or mess with those people who can't lighten up and kind of get a kick out of it. It's not, it's never good getting enjoyment out of other people's suffering, but it's good to see someone who's blown steam and to look at that and to see yourself in it in bad moments of yourself and to say, geez, I don't want to act like that. I think that's what it's good for. Is it an ant? It's an ant. Oh, they're stuck in a web. See this little, it's a spice jar. Looks like a spider on the lid. That's because whenever I find a spider ant in my house, it's actually kind of rare. I put it in this little container. Okay, this is a weird story. When I move in the place that I'm at, I noticed one thing. Like, I never see bugs in here, really. Like, I think when I first moved in here, it was like a year or two. I think it was like 2 years. And I think I saw like 3 spiders in my house. Like, I never see spiders. So that's kind of weird. Especially because I was from California. California, there's a ton of spiders. So just seeing a spider in the house is just a common occurrence. And seeing 3 spiders in 2 years just seems like uh, almost unheard of for me. Like, I would think I'd see more. So, uh, but then I saw ladybugs at one point, and I saw like 2 ladybugs in my house one day, and then they would go to this light that I have, and they'd fall in this light, and then they'd go for the warmth, they'd get too hot, and they'd die. And I was like, okay, I keep getting these ladybugs, they keep going to this light in my house, and they keep dying. But where the heck are they coming from? The weirdest part too was I kept saying this to myself. Kept thinking, why the heck do I never see spiders, but I've seen like 5 times the amount of ladybugs I've seen spiders? It's really weird. And long story short, I realized I just had a little hole in the screen of my window, and I think they were coming in through that because after I put a piece of tape over that, I never saw a ladybug ever again. But I looked it up, and it's something that can happen when it gets cold outside because the house is warmer, so it's during the winter. And they were trying to hibernate in here or something. But they kept going by light in my house and they would just die. Uh, but just a funny, weird story about me expecting to see spiders, but I'm seeing ladybugs. But I'm not mad because I'm thinking I'd rather see a few ladybugs once in a while than a damn spider. But I was thinking, why is that? Like, that does not seem normal. But I still don't think it's normal. So I'm still baffled about that, I guess. Oh yeah, but basically I put an ant in here. And then I didn't see it. So it's like, oh, maybe it escaped. And I found an ant in my house. That's why I put it in here. I don't kill ants. I saw one ant in my house. I thought, no. Got a piece of water on my finger. Pick up the ant. I flicked it into here. But I didn't see it after a little bit. So yeah, like I said, I thought it escaped because I cracked the lid for air. It turns out, got stuck in a web that's in here because I could put a spider in here. I put multiple spiders in here. If I find anything in here, it goes in here. Like a little insect. I didn't really eat it very fast because I was talking. I kept thinking like I don't want to talk, but then I need to eat. And as I was thinking, I would just start talking about a bunch of stuff. But yeah, that was me eating 2 burgers and fries and talking about random stuff. Part 2. Or number 2. I don't know if it'd be part 2 because it's not the same. It's not a part of the series. This is a whole nother part. Maybe it is. What am I even saying? Whatever. Maybe it is part 2 then. Figure it out. It's kind of ironic me saying this because of me saying this in the first place. But there's so much stuff where sometimes nothing said is fine. And people say a bunch of things trying to make it meaningful. Like I saw this, it was like a statue or something, and it had this phrase or something written on it. And it was basically like saying, never grow old. I wish I took a picture of it to read it. And basically it said, like, never grow old because the ones that are here now are the ones that will grow or will become old or something. And then it was saying, like, I don't know what it said. If I'm trying to repeat what it's saying, I'm going to say something that actually sounds slightly meaningful. Then you're going to think, oh, it actually is kind of meaningful. But if I read it back word for word, you'd see what I'm saying. Like, it was literally not meaningful. But it was like if someone tried saying something meaningful, but you kind of just look at them and say, okay, like, yeah, you just said some stuff, some words, and you think it's meaningful or something? Oh. It was like the Wes Watson guy. Like, listen to him talk. It's basically that in a nutshell. He basically says, like, the most common sense things, but then projects it in a way. Like, you have to do it like he does it. Because he doesn't just... It's not his way of doing anything. He's doing... He's just looking at... He's just being the best of himself. So you have to do that too. But it's so funny. Because his idea of being the best self is different than other people. But when other people tell him their best self, he says, oh, well, you're not proud of blah, blah, blah. Why is this funny to me? Because the dude got triggered because some guy talked about spending time with family. And he thought that was being successful. And the other guy freaked out, which shows me that he's not happy about his lack of family. You know, he doesn't have a family. He's not happy about that. So, someone needs to sit down with this guy and tell him, hey, there's certain things you're not happy about with your life too. You know? I don't think he'd listen though. That's part of the problem. It's good to listen to things like that. Well, that's going kind of far. It's good to listen to him. It's good to learn from things like that. Mm. I feel like we're in a weird part of humanity because we try to be so nice today in this day and age. But it's essential to talk trash on people and have trash talk. No one wants to have trash talk though. No one wants to talk behind people's back. No one wants gossip. No one wants blah blah blah. And of course, it's okay. Then you just talk trash to people's face. But there's so much misunderstanding. It's hard to talk trash to people's face. Where am I going with this? I think somewhere along the lines of I think we need to talk trash on each other, and it's something that allows us to break boundaries within ourselves, something that makes us look at ourselves and to laugh at ourselves, to not take ourselves too seriously, to humble ourselves. And these are all attributes that I think are certain things that are missing from my generation. Kind of having reality checks, kind of humbling yourself, kind of saying something kind of stupid and having people tell you it's kind of stupid, and make you question if you want to be going around saying stuff that sounds stupid or whatever. Um, that's why I was saying, like, the Wes Watson guy, we need people like that. He's literally like a drill sergeant who looks at you and he'll slap this hamburger out of my hand. Or maybe he would. He'd put another hamburger in my hand after this and he'd say, "You better eat this." And he'd say, "Then drop and give me, all these push ups." And then he'd say, "You're a sad little girl and you're not even a man. You tell me it's blah, blah, blah." Is that, nice? Is there a better way of going about that? Whatever, blah, blah. Well, you could think that all day. But we need people like that. You need people bringing stuff like that up. You need people who are like that. I don't know what else to say other than that. They fit a place in society. If you, How are you going to hire for a drill sergeant if someone like that doesn't exist? Or who's going to be, the drill sergeant? Who's going to fit that position? So, when I look at that Wes Watson guy, I have some sort of understanding saying he's sort of a drill sergeant in terms of being that person in society trying to coach you in that way with that mentality. And with that I can have some sort of understanding that a lot of it is tough love. Um and of course it could be, okay, well then maybe it's the people's fault who he's saying the things to, that they're not responding to it properly. They're not taking in what he's saying properly. They're not understanding where he's coming from. And I could understand that too. So I think there's a lot to think about. That's why it is good to not just listen to or to learn from stuff like that, but it probably is good to actually listen to some stuff like that once in a while at least, so you can be able to think about how to be your better self. The whole guy's point's how to be your better self, and he loses his, what do you call it? One of his bolts comes loose or something when people just talk about having a family and spending time with them. Says a lot. If you hear the guy talk, he basically is just so self-obsessed, and he thinks because of that everyone else is gonna love him too. I think that's where everyone goes wrong, and that's a really good point. Is that, like I was saying with the car, if you have this really fancy car, people are not going to care necessarily unless they can somehow use you for clout or take advantage of you for money or something. If they can get something out of that, that's when they care. People, I'm not saying they don't care about you, but people don't care about your materialistic possessions unless they get something out of it or it does something in their life to them. Not to you, not so they can watch you enjoying everything, having the best life. No one cares. I'm so full, I'm tapping out. Tap out. I have a little bit left. This is like kind of fried food. Normally I make my own burgers, so I'm used to all the fried stuff. And I'll just save this. And I'll get hungry a little bit later. And then I'll be like, oh my gosh, I have that 2 bites left of that burger. Whoa, I'm gonna be so happy. I'm full. Okay. I'm so full. Wow. This would be good to distract myself then talking because I feel full, man. Whoa. Oh, I guess I ate a really late lunch today. So I literally like ate lunch and then ate those 2 burgers after. I kind of forgot about that. Whoa. It's a lot of food in my belly. But I kind of wanted to leave off with like, I did mention there's those alpha male guy because I kind of keep talking about that Wes Watson guy. It's all part of this alpha male convention or something, talking about how to be successful. To sum it up, they invited a bunch of narcissistic people to a lobby to all sit around microphones to talk about what success means. And instead of them talking about anything, about how to, anything specific of what to do to become successful, anything, they did not talk about anything about being successful. They literally talked about having big muscles, having big fancy cars, having millions of dollars, and I don't know if they threw gold diggers in there somewhere, but it was supposed to be about success. And they're not telling you like any plans or any ideas or anything about how to be successful. They're just like basically it was basically a giant show where people all bragged about themselves and told you about all the thing how much of a big deal they are and how much free time they have to be able to go to the gym every day and build muscle. It was just kind of ridiculous. But like I was saying, there's some good things they say. So what are some of the good things they say? And I think, well, it's not the good things they say, but they have good points within what they're saying. Let me say it that way. So one of the things which I think gets kind of taken in the wrong light, because I have personal experience with this. It's not a brag. It's not really a good thing. But they're saying, hey, when you're in your early 20s, don't go out and try to party and make a bunch of friends and have a big social life and stuff. It'd be more important. They don't say it like this. This is me saying a more humble version of it. They're sort of saying, you know, really focus on your future, focus on yourself. It's not just on your future. It's like focus on your mental health, focus on your physical health, focus on your future and really do that. But they're saying at the sacrifice of not really having friends, not really having fun. Let's just sum it up saying that. And a lot of people say, well, why would I want to throw away the opportunities of having friends, a social life, having fun, having all these things just so I can try to become successful or try to become this millionaire or whatever? And I think that's where people get it wrong, because I think where they're coming from is, let me kind of explain my story to go with it. It's very hard in today's day and age to try to come up with a plan in life or to better have dreams in life and to think that they're realistically going to happen one day when in our society you need money to make things happen for the most part, and it's getting a little bit harder to the money's not as worth as much as it used to be. Inflation is really taking a toll on how much the value of our currency is. And then it's hard to save money because of that, because everything's so expensive. There's less money to save at the end of it on top of that. So it's a lot harder right now, probably than a lot of other generations. It's probably a lot easier than a lot of other generations too. But the point is to try to compete at the same level and have the same luxuries and the same lifestyles that even our parents did. We're going to have to work much harder. Most of us. So I think that's where a lot of that's coming from, is it's saying, if you want to have a good future, if you want to live a more luxurious life, if you want to live a more upscale life, then you're probably going to have to make sacrifices. And I've talked to enough people to know that that is true. And you're going to make a sacrifice at some point. Whether that's when you are 20, whether that's when you're 25, whether that's when you're 30, whether that's when you're 40, at some point, if you want to get to some place, you're going to have to make a sacrifice, and you don't want to wait too long, especially when life doesn't make time for you. Life doesn't just say, hey, we're giving you the month off. I mean, maybe your job will, hopefully, but most of the time, life doesn't give you a break. If your job gives you a break, you have stuff to work on that you haven't been working on. If you have a family, you probably got your family. And that's the whole reality, is people get busy. I know I'm going to get busy, and I know I'm not really busy right now. And I'm able to isolate myself. I'm able to spend a lot of time doing what I want to do. Work on myself mentally, work on myself physically, and work on my future. So I think that's where these people are coming from. So that's why when I was hearing them talk, I was saying, okay, there's kind of some good grains sprinkled throughout this all. You know, you can find a few good grains throughout what they're saying within the giant tub of whatever it is. There's a few grains of some good stuff. I'm just giving them a hard time, but really they did say some things that had some good points within it, and it kind of all had to do with just being your best self, trying to have a good future. And if you want to do that, you know, certain things come at an expense, basically. So, I mean, that's a good point. But I think that's the whole thing. If these people are going to call themselves alpha males, I mean, that's already ridiculous. But if they want to be a figure, to be like this, a male figure that people are supposed to look up to, well, first, you can't call yourself alpha male, which automatically says I'm at this category. That's better than all these other people that are at this category that's below me. That's ridiculous. I thought the whole point was trying to be your best self. So how are you going to try to be your best self and talk publicly to people, and then you say, I'm on this level and you're on that level? You know, are people supposed to level up to you? Are they supposed to get on your level at some point? Or if you keep getting better, are they ever going to reach your level? And who's saying when the levels are separated? What determines when you're at what level? When determines that you're an alpha male? What determines that you're a beta male? You know? And we can already go all day about how opinions are subjective. But when you start going into things like saying there's different levels to how manly a man is, or where they fit on the category, we're talking about how we categorize animals in the wild and how their instinctual nature affects the outcome of how they fit in the herd. And okay, we can relate that to our modern day and age to an extent, but we're cognitive beings, and we at least have the illusion of free will, or we have free will depending on what you believe, but we have some sort of sense of doing what we want. And we can't just look at ourselves like cavemen and say alpha male, beta male, because there's so much more going on than that simple primate level of herd relationships. We don't live in herds anymore. And of course you could use the analogy. I think it's of course used more as an analogy, the alpha male. But it's becoming more of a toxic thing. And just any sort of thing where you're saying you're better than other people is sort of toxic and has a narcissistic smell to it. Smells of narcissism. So, uh, I'm not saying people should do this, but I'm surprised that people have not naturally just tried to say, oh, let's be the best man, let's try to be the best uh, male figure and try to teach people these best ways to live your life and stuff. Because a lot of these people who try to act like that, um, let's just say they're not the best role models all around. They might be really jacked and have a bunch of muscle, but that doesn't differentiate everything. I think one really good point is that a lot of people work out their muscles in their arms, but they don't work out the muscle that's in their skull very much, and they become really stupid. And I've always told people that are real gym rat people, uh, if they talk trash on me and say, "Cool, why don't you hit the gym more?" Or some, and I oftentimes will tell them I like exercising my brain, okay? And also I tell them there's a lot of time in my life that I'm gonna be able to, like right now I'm actually gaining some more muscle because for years I've been really exercising my brain and I had goals to do certain things and I've accomplished certain things that I've wanted to do. So now I've told myself I have some time to go to the gym a little more and build some muscle. And now I'm seeing some more muscle. So I'm living my life how I want to, and it's making me happy. And this is why I'm talking about this, because I've talked to enough people to know that they may not even know how to live their own life, and they're kind of struggling, and they're not really happy, and they're trying to figure it out. And am I saying have it figured out and I'm not struggling? No. But I've learned some lessons. I think I could pass them on to you. I think one thing I'm able to do is put things into words pretty well. So I'm able to take certain lessons and be able to describe them. And I think that's something that I should do. What am I even saying? I'm saying I'm good at putting things into words and I'm sitting here struggling what I'm saying. I think I have a ability, or at least I like to talk about things, and I don't know. I try not to be full of myself. I try not to be a jerk. I hope that helps at the end result. Is there anything else to talk about? I don't know. Um, I don't think so. Basically, where I was ending, that's where I'm gonna end it. I've been exercising my brain for a while, and I haven't been exercising my body as much. And, I wish I could be more balanced with that, but you only got so much time in life, and this is the best I've figured out at the moment. So in my eyes, I'm doing the best I've ever done. That's pretty good for me. Well, it's better than any other time. So I'll leave it at that. And don't listen to the people telling you you gotta listen to music that you don't like. Because people try to tell you to do that. I don't know. Goodbye.